Now, progressive Democratic candidate Abdul El-Sayed defeated his centrist rival Haley Stevens in the senatorial primary election in Michigan. He will face Republican challenger Mike Rogers in the midterms. His left-wing platform calls for universal health care, higher taxes on billionaires and corporations, and an end to military aid for Israel. The results reflect a growing leftward shift among American Democrats, but the narrowness of El-Sayed's victory has many in the party establishment worried for his chances in November.
But right now, as bitter and as divisive and as cynical as the campaign against us might have been, I want us to realize that there is so much more that unites us now. Because the campaign that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump and their GOP MAGA allies are launching is already more bitter. All you got to do is look at the ads you're already watching on TV, started today.
For more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs editor, Kethevane Gorjestani. Kethevane, how big of a win is this for the progressive wing of the Democratic Party?
It's a huge victory for the progressives. For many reasons. First of all, not just because it's a progressive beating a moderate, but it's a progressive beating a moderate who had the support, the backing of the whole establishment of the Democratic Party, not just the Democratic Party in Michigan, but the Democratic Party nationally, especially Washington. Then it's a victory on money, because Haley Stevens had north of $60 million from outside super PACs helping her campaign, including around $30 million coming from AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobby. And finally, it's a huge victory, even more so because of where that victory happened, in Michigan. This is the first big race that is not in a super liberal area that the progressives have won. Michigan is not New York City, so this is a much bigger deal, if you will, than Zohran Mamdani in New York City. It shows that progressives can win, even in places that are not so heavily liberal. But, and the but is a big one, to win a Democratic primary is good, but then you have to win the general election against the Republican, and that's the big question about electability. Can he win the general election? There are some warning signs. It was a little bit tough, this race, for him in the primary. He won by less than 50% of the vote. The gap is around 15,000 votes. He did very well with younger, more educated, and wider voters in Michigan. Not so much with the African-American voters, with the older voters, the working class, and those are a big chunk of the Michigan electorate at large. So he's going to have to work to get those people. And finally, his opponent, the Republican Mike Rogers, he's not some weird new MAGA person. He is endorsed by Donald Trump, but he's been in Republican politics for a long time. He's seen as a serious Republican candidate. So the real test for the progressive movement is going to be in November. If El-Sayed wins, they will point to that and say, look, we can win even in a swing state like Michigan. If he loses, the moderates are going to turn back and see, we told you, you might have won the Democratic base, but you can't beat a Republican, a normal Republican, if you will, in a swing state.
And of course, the attacks against El-Sayed started on day one. Take a look.
Abdul Mohammed El-Sayed, the most radical Senate candidate in America.
Pretty dangerous.
El-Sayed pledged support for the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, a designated foreign terrorist group. He wants to hike taxes on Michigan waitresses, delivery drivers, and seniors on Social Security. He joined a sex offender and a murderer to demand the mass release of dangerous prisoners. And when his ally claimed America deserved 9/11,
America deserved 9/11, dude.
El-Sayed refused to disavow it.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
Abdul El-Sayed, too radical, too dangerous, wrong for Michigan.
So, Kethevane, is the main attack line going to be that El-Sayed's a Muslim?
It seems that that's the line that the Republicans are going with starting from now, because this video that was put out by the National Republican Senatorial Committee clearly uses those tropes. The fact that he's a Muslim, a man without saying it directly. But first of all, there's something that's a big reminder of those who followed Barack Obama. Remember Donald Trump calling Barack Obama every time? Barack Hussein Obama. They are doing the same thing, using his full name. Abdul Mohammed El-Sayed, using that. Then there's the allegation that he supports the Muslim Brotherhood. To be very clear with our viewers, he has never supported the Muslim Brotherhood. the links to the comments about 9/11 by Hassan Piker himself. Abdul El-Sayed never said that. He is seen as too radical, too dangerous. They are using the trope of the angry Muslim man that is a threat to America. That is really where they're going. And Donald Trump, in his speech yesterday, he said that Abdul El-Sayed hates Jews and hates Israel. He repeated that 3 times in about 30 or 40 seconds. So that is clearly something that they're going to go after. It could work on a part of the electorate, especially some that are already tending to vote MAGA, to vote a Republican, but it might not be the silver bullet that the Republicans think it is. First of all, it didn't work so well with Barack Obama. It didn't work so well with Zoran Mamdani in New York City. Then the other thing is attacking Muslims in Michigan might not be the greatest place to attack Muslims because Michigan has
Detroit,
one of the largest populations as far as percentage of the state in anywhere in the country, especially in big population centers like Detroit, like Dearborn. And finally, just like Zoran Mamdani, Abdul El-Sayed, he's an extremely good communicator, and he has decided.
Sounds like Obama.
Exactly, he sounds like Obama, and he has decided, like Zoran Mamdani, to go head on with these critics. I'll give you 2 examples of what he did about this use of his name. He joked that if Republicans can't pronounce his name correctly, then they should keep his name out of his mouth. There's also the thing. I don't know, so I decided not to say it. But he also said, "My name is not raising your gas prices. My name is not taking us to war. My name is not the reason you cannot afford your groceries." He's turning their attack against them.
And back on the issues.
Back on the issues that voters care about. Affordability, gas prices, groceries, and the war, because a lot of people are opposed to this war. So El-Sayed is probably the person who can most likely weather that storm, that anti-Muslim rhetoric from the Republicans. They're, of course, going to try other things. But Abdul El-Sayed is probably counting on 2 things going for him in this election against the Republican. One is it's been called the sort of change election. People want to get rid of whoever has been in power for a long time. And he's, yes, in politics, but Mike Rogers, he's been in politics for 30 years, even though he's not an incumbent right now, but he's been around for a long time. He's seen as the insider to El-Sayed's outsider. The other thing is he's banking on the disapproval of Donald Trump. Yes, Michigan voted for Donald Trump several times, but there is an overwhelming rejection now of Donald Trump, and he's hoping that that will trickle down to Mike Rogers, enough so that people are going to either not vote for Mike Rogers, stay home, or actually vote for him.
I wonder if those anti-Muslim tropes even work with social media, because people see things like his Instagram account where he's dancing around to Taylor Swift. Same thing for Zoran Mamdani when he was going around to gay bars on the eve of the election to encourage people to vote. So they can try. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much for that, Kethevane Gorjestani there.